Welcome everyone to Game 3 of this best of 3, some exclusive YouTube content for ESET UK Masters. I'm Maddles and I've had the pleasure of casting these amazing games this evening. So I'm just going to jump right in and introduce these two for what will be the last time for one of them in this season's ESET. So in the bottom right, as Red Zerg, the winner of Game 1, loser of Game 2, we have for Team Acer, it is Nerchio. And down in the bottom left, the blue Terran, triumphant in Game 2, feeling on top of the world after what was just a solid win and a good bit of play. We have the blue Terran from Team Axiom, it is Heart. So, while we wait to see what these two do have in store for each other on Newkirk City, we better talk a little bit about Game 1 and 2. Game 1 was all about Nerchio's Ultra Infestor play. It was great, they were trading constantly, it was a long battle and slugfest at that, but in the end, Nerchio, he managed to be victorious after taking out the 4th base, denying Heart the vital resources he needed to resupply. In Game 2 though, we saw things get a little bit different because Heart, he went out slightly less aggressively early on and just went for some nice pushes. He got the Hellbats early and managed to deny the 3rd base of Nerchio. That put them on equal bases for a long period of time, which clearly favors the Terran, and therefore the aggression after that was just too much. Nerchio didn't have the units out to deal with it, and while he went for a nice counter push, the Banshees and defense were able to clean it up. All the while, Heart just pushed forward, knocked out the 4th base, and then destroyed the 3rd. So very close series, and it's to be expected because there's an awful lot on the line. Whoever wins this game now will secure a place at the grand finals at Insomnia 48 for a prize, or for the chance to win some of that £10,000 prize. So a lot on the line. It's a big tournament, and therefore they are going to be playing their absolute hearts out. Command center after the racks for Heart. Meanwhile, a hatchery first and a spawning pool for Nerchio. So nothing too peculiar at the moment. I'm waiting to see which player is going to dare to break the mold first and take the risk, because you've got to do it. At this level of play, being straight up, safe, standard, reliable will not win you the game, because your opponent will take a risk and they will take an advantage. You have to do exactly the same, but it's about taking the right opportunities. If you go for a greedy 3rd base while your opponent is going for a lot of aggression off of 1 base play, you're going to lose. So you've got to scout out well, as we're seeing Heart do at the moment. The Overlord coming in, sees the gas timing out of Heart as well. So this is just good. Both players know what each other are doing, and so far are going about what they normally should be. And this is a very typical build out of Heart. The racks, command center, double gas is precisely what we see. The Marines even wandering around, just trying to pick off any overlords that might come in and spreading them, just to make sure that he denies any scouting he possibly can, because if you deny the scout, your opponent is somewhat blind about what could be happening. Meanwhile, Nerchio, queens and drones, queens and drones, queens and drones. It is the Zerg equivalent of probes and pylons, and it is just such an effective way to start the game. Not taking any risks, not trying to put on any pressure. Admittedly, this map does have a large ramp into the natural, but the command center with the Marine support probably wouldn't take much damage unless you really committed to it, and that kind of commitment is not something you want to do in the ace match of a best of 3 with so much on the line. So at the moment, we do just have the reactor being constructed, the barracks, the factory coming down. They will switch. Hellions most likely to come out. 2 additional barracks being added into this as well. And what that means is Heart will yet again be going for that mix-up of bio and mech we've seen in the previous games, which have been very effective. That Hellbat Marine push, absolutely stunning in Game 2. 1 in the game, taking out that 3rd. And Nerchio is about to take that 3rd yet again, going for the north position, as opposed to the closer one in the clumped-up position. And some Zergs do take that close one as opposed to this one so far away, because there is this entry route towards the top marked by the rock tower, which if it's not taken down, it can lead to Hellions sneaking in, dealing some damage. It's a bit further away, so reinforcements take longer to get there, and you can get trapped in ice if units, specifically like siege tanks, can get in the middle. So that is what Nerchio has to be careful of. This watchtower so critical that he holds it throughout the game to make sure he knows when any push comes. But all in all, these two not taking any massive risks. The tech lab and reactor on the other barracks. A Tech Lab already up getting Stim down, so maybe waiting for the push, not quite as early. Some Marauders already on their way out. The Hellions knocked out the Zergling at the Watchtower. We do see that speed is not researched yet. No upgrades for either player for the time being. Instead, we just see the Nerchio getting out his Rotron, getting out his lair. No evolution chambers yet, but probably will be coming out, judging from his play so far in the first 2 rounds, have always involved those double upgrades. The Hellions spot the third hatchery, knowing now that Hart, he is safe. He will probably just sit back, pull back, wait for Stim to complete, may go for a bit of aggression. Of course, drop play very effective on this map due to just how much dead space there are around the different maps. And yet again, Hart is just doing a fantastic job, as we've seen in all the other games, of denying this creep spread very well. So he's trying to stop that spreading out, trying to really limit the Zerg player's vision of the map. He's also getting out of that armory at a very early point, probably for Hellbatch yet again. He's got more Hellions coming out, Marauders and Marines on their way. Stim is only 70 seconds away from completion, as is Combat Shield a couple of seconds away. So that just means that there's a very nice timing push opportunity. Meanwhile for Nerchio though, he's got the Rotron out, he's got the double evolution chambers now up, and the lair finished. So road speed, the 1-1 melee upgrades likely to start very shortly, and that just means that, to be honest, Nerchio gearing towards that late game composition again. An Overseer coming in will spot the armory. That is really important. Should also see those 2 additional barracks, and that means that he knows that it's going to be quite a bio-heavy force, as he's seen previously, as opposed to mech, and therefore Nerchio can react appropriately. The Overseer should die, and there it does indeed explode, so that is 100, well, just over actually 100 resources for Nerchio going down. It also supply blocks him at 86 of 86, which means he's got to produce another 4, but luckily those 4 Overlords about to pop will unsupply block. Concussive Shell getting researched. Stim is done. Concussive Shell only takes a minute, so with these Hellions moving forward, with these Marines and Marauders going, Hart is going for a big push indeed, and this could be absolutely devastating. 1-1 melee and armor will not be complete by the time this push hits, but Concussive Shell will be. That is what's so important. That Concussive Shell with Combat Shield and Stim, SCVs even being pulled. Hard pretty much going nearly all in at the moment. There's a lot of SCVs being pulled. He has pulled 11 of them. Hellbats morphing, Roaches are taking them out there already, and this is where the push comes. The SCVs are just there to soak up as much fire as they can, but Nerchio, he's clumping up. He's got the 3 Queens there ready. He needs to do as much damage as possible, and this is the problem for Nerchio, is that he's now isolated from his third and natural units from both sides. He can surround, but only with the reinforcements. We see that the Hellions are, Hellbats rather, doing some nice damage to Concussive Shell from those Marauders, stopping those Roaches from escaping, getting them down very nicely. The supply advantage is still there at the moment though for Nerchio, but this third hatchery is taking a lot of damage. The drones are getting pulled as well, trying to combat this. Hart is in a big commitment. If he knocks out this hatchery, it will be worth it, and indeed he is going to be able to get that down now. Nerchio just waiting for those reinforcements, waiting to sandwich his opponent. The drones have escaped, but the hatchery did not, and therefore that means that Hart is able to pull back. He's keeping all of these units isolated from the natural, and that means there's only a very small force. Nerchio has to try and engage this force at some point, because if he loses that natural hatch, it will be all but over. In come the Roaches from behind, in come the drones. The Hellbat in a nice position, a lot of stims going off, but with no medevacs to heal. That is causing a problem. The Hellbat dealing a nice amount of damage. All of the SCVs, which were soaking up some of that fire, are now dead, but so many workers getting killed. This is really quite problematic. All of the SCVs forward have also died though, so that does level it out slightly, but as we're seeing, Hart has now taken the supply lead. Most of his army is still alive. 57 army supply for the Terran to just 30 of the Zerg player. As you can see, he's moving forward. He's dealing some nice damage. The Roaches are getting resupplied. Drones getting pulled, which is never, ever a good sign. But with so many stims, this army is oh so low on health. The natural hatchery is currently staying up. Marauders trying to deal as much damage as they can, but one shot from a roach will kill all of this, and it does look like, for the time being at least, Nerchio is held. The Marauders are trying to retreat back, but 33 drones have been killed by Hart this game so far. It takes the total 31 drones to just 29 SCVs. A lot were pulled in an attempt to try and win right here, right now. So actually, things fairly level. The problem being, though, is that obviously Hart, he is still on 2 bases, as is Nerchio. Nerchio's third was taken out. These Roaches have to be careful with Marines, Marauders, with Concussive Shell. You've got to be very cautious about all of that. The Hellbat's there as well. More SCVs. SCV production is actually cut. He's not producing any at the time being, but now there he goes. He's starting that back up. Drone count is slowly rising, but they're pretty much equal. in terms of the worker count. These two Hellions just going to go and check to see if the third base is getting reconstructed, but no, it is not. Instead, a macro hatch coming down, spine crawlers, and also the baning nest. Nerchio clearly very worried about what could be the follow-up. The advantage for Nerchio, though, he's got the 1-1 upgrades. Heart, he has no upgrades yet. He does have an engineering bay in construction, so should be starting something shortly. He is also hopefully going to start his medevac production as well, because that is what is really, really important for him. He needs to keep this infantry alive, because arguably what cost him, well, not cost him the game, but what caused that push to get stopped quite so easily was the fact that after so many stims, there was no health left on the infantry, and just a couple of medevacs would have completely changed that. Now, as we see, the SCVs are repairing up those Hellions. They are still mining away quite comfortably. The income is fairly equal, around 1,200 resources, 1,200 minerals a minute, and around 200 gas a minute for each player. But with the infestation pick coming out, with that macro hatch, Nerchio does have good production, but he's behind in supply. Is he going to go yet again for those infestors we've seen in game 1 and 2? Most likely he will, still liking the Wings of Liberty composition. But for Heart, he has got a very large infantry and Hellbat force up yet again. The medevacs are in production, and as those medevacs start coming out, all of this force can get healed up. The third command center also on its way down. Meanwhile, the third hatchery only just now got restarted for Nerchio, and that in itself is a problem, because all while that's there, not up and running, it means that these two players are on equal bases. And even after Nerchio has that up, because Hart is getting his own third command center out, they will be on equal bases fairly quickly yet again. And Nerchio sending yet another overseer in to get a look, sees that the armory and engineering bay are upgrading. That just gives him more of a clue about what could be going on. No push coming out of Hart yet, just pulling back for the time being. Clearly doesn't feel confident moving forward at the moment. But Nerchio, he's getting up centrifugal hooks. He's ready to get that baning speed. He's got the baning, he's got the roaches, got the zerglings, got the 2-2 upgrades finished as well. That's quite a substantial upgrade advantage he's got for the time being, which should help him in any engagements. But with the medevacs out now, with those Hellbats, Marauders, and Marines, there's no arguing that Hart has a great army, and the first tank even now hitting the field. That is going to help things and push things into Hart's favor. But a drop coming down in the main base at the moment. We can see that Hart doing some nice damage to the drone line, but the Spore Crawler does, and with the Queen's help, does manage to take out that medevac. Marines now will get cleaned up by a couple of banelings, but still a few more workers killed. The worker count, 57 drones to 47 SCVs. Take into account the mules, and actually things aren't looking too bad for Hart. He's also got his third base secured there on equal bases yet again. So this game desperately close. Both players really trying to assert their dominance throughout the game. And Hart, if I had to say anyone was ahead, I would put it at Hart, just purely because he's lost yet and he's on equal bases still, so his income is pretty solid. Nerchio, though, he does have Hive on the way. He's got the infestors soon to come out with pathogen glands already researching, and that will give him a good tech advantage. And he's also already got the upgrade advantage at 2-2 against 1-0 for the infantry and also vehicles. But now a tank has joined into this composition. That siege tank will help deal with those roaches. And of course, the second one also adding in. The medevac count, pretty low. Only 4 out on the field. But as we can see, another small group of units is positioned up by the third. But Nerchio pushing forward, decides not to go for the scan, sees precisely what's there. And all Hart needs to do is actually just try and bait forward Nerchio, so this push coming into the third base of Nerchio doesn't get intercepted. But we do see Nerchio has pulled back. He's going to have to get way out of there, loading up into the Venax to retreat and not using the opportunity to push forward with his other force. So just trying to make Nerchio have to run around, defend everywhere all at once. But that's no worries. Hart not in a rush. He has got a 20 supply lead, which is more than adequate at this stage of the game. He is also keeping up in the worker count. 60 drones to 56 SCVs. Take 3 mules into that as well. Hart does have the better income, but Nerchio, he's got those infestors coming out. His Ultra Cavern has now started as well. And that means the tech advantage, the upgrade advantage is still there for our Zerg player. 3-3 even on the way now, just starting. Compare that to the 2-2 weapons for vehicles and infantry coming out for Hart, and suddenly we're getting a good picture that while these sheer numbers are in Hart's favor, the expertise and tech and upgrades are all there for Nerchio. So this is going to be very close. Nerchio wants to be careful pushing into this. Hart does want to keep dropping. We see that medevac is coming over to the top of the map, arching around the fourth, avoiding the creep spread. There is no static defense at the third base for Nerchio. But what there is an awful lot of speedlings. So this drop may get a little bit of damage done now, boosting in. But as long as Nerchio's reactions are fairly quick, it should be able to get shut down before too much damage is able to be achieved. But now down come these Marines, down come these Marauders. Nerchio engaging in the center, getting a fungal growth off though, but that's distracting him from this drop. The Zerglings have now got pulled back. Queen is able to survive, but it's giving Hart the opportunity to push forward and take out this fourth base, because Nerchio pulled back all of his units. This is a great position for Hart to be in, but the tanks aren't sieged up at the moment. Now just sieging in time will be able to negate some of the damage from those banelings if they take them out in quick fashion. But of course, more reinforcements coming in. Hart nearly maxed out. He wants to start pushing forward, especially before that 3-3 upgrades come out. +2 infantry weapons is finished, and now we see Nerchio trying to push in from all angles. Banelings rolling through. The tanks dealing some nice damage. The infantry trying to pull back, but the banelings are just never ending, and it looks like Nerchio has managed to clean up this force relatively comfortably, but both players took big losses there. Only 1,000 more resources lost by Nerchio compared to Hart. The medevacs have survived and are pulling back, but where are the reinforcements? Is there going to be enough to hold this counter push? I just don't know. A couple of Marines are still rallied forward and are getting taken out now by those speedlings, desperately trying to run back to the safety of the Terran base, but there is so few units out here at the moment. Those are medevacs of them, but one tank in there, will it be enough to hold off? Probably. But Hart, he's got to deal with the fact there's 5 Ultras still in production, and they're going to be coming out. The 4th base getting retaken at the top of the map. The worker count is now heavily in Nerchio's favor, 81 to 57 of Hart. This game incredibly close. Nerchio is swinging back in to take the advantage with 3-3 upgrades about to complete, compared to the 2-0 vehicle and infantry weapons for Hart at the moment, who is just now starting the 3-3 weapon upgrades. So as we can see, no sign of a 4th base yet out of Hart. He is nearly mined out at his main base. His natural nearly is about half mined out as well, but he's going for round 3 of this push. He's moving forward. 3-3 upgrades about to complete though for the Zerg player, and once they do, he has got such a huge upgrade advantage, and also he has got the tech advantage that Hart, he would have to be very brave to push in there. And for the moment, it looks like Hart just deciding not to. He's loading up everything into the medevacs. So was that a misclick, or is he going for the Doom drop? The Doom drop seems to be the answer. The Overseer, though, getting a good look at that. So he's actually going to be like, no, my opponent will see this coming. And indeed, Nerchio is gearing up, ready for a push. He's trying to position themselves everywhere. The medevacs boosting up those units. There aren't any Bane. There was only a handful of Baning, should I say. Here, 7 there. But in comes the push. Tanks are in a good siege position, dealing some nice damage. Great spread on the infantry at the time being. The Banings are connecting those, but they don't last too long. The tank line is still holding at the moment. But Ultra's pushing in towards the natural. Nerchio with the dominating supply lead. The rotor's staying up. SCV's getting pulled hard, trying his absolute best to make this work. But as we can see, Nerchio with now a 60 supply lead is very, very far ahead, and I don't think he can be able to do anything. So many SCVs have been killed here now. It's 80 drones to 33 SCVs, and while this push is diminishing in terms of its effectiveness and just how many units are out, I do not think that he is going to be victorious. I think the Nerchio is going to be able to take this. He is up. He's got his 5th base down and nearly complete as well. So with that, with this push, Hart is forced to GG out, and therefore the final online qualifier for ESET UK Masters Grand Finals will be Nerchio. Congratulations to him. He will be there on the 22nd, 25th of March at Insomnia 48. He will be ready to try and take some of that prize pool. I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed these matches tonight. I know I did. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you thumbs up this video, leave a cool comment, let us know if you're hyped as I am about Nerchio coming to the finals. And of course, let us know what you thought of Hart's play, who admirably put up an absolutely great defense against Nerchio throughout this series. So I'm Mados. This was for ESET UK Masters. We'll see you at the Grand Finals. Stay tuned.